Guess what time it is? Yeah, it's probably time for, what are they playing? Basketball games now. But it's also time for us, too. This is Lesko Free Radio. We got a hell of a show today. We have the woman who started the Fringe Festival in Washington, D.C. I've been reading a lot about her the last couple of days. And it's just terrific stuff. You guys are going to be really excited, inspired about doing really neat things in life, so you don't have to sit there and be boring anymore. and what tools are out there, to help you do that thing. We also have Shane on the line, too. And I sent Shane on a mission to look at her website and to give us some ideas about maybe sources of money that she may not think of, And she's probably going to tell me, I thought all that stuff, But what the hell? You're going to learn something. If she doesn't learn something, at least you'll learn something, And that's the point of the show. You're learning things, We also have, I'll show you some neat grant programs, too. A grant for $5,800 that anybody, under making less than $50,000 is eligible for, if you know about that stuff. Another grant program about $30,000. And then another real neat thing, get a $5 million grant from the government. Yep, really cool. And then the last one, if we have time to get to it, I have Saving Energy. How this guy got $500,000 from the government to work on a website on how to save energy. And now you and I could use it to save like $2,000 a year on our heating bill. So he got $500,000 to look on this, work on this cool website. Okay, so watch this. We'll be right back with the Capital Fringe lady.
Whoa.
Now, Fringe, is that a garment we're talking about or what? I mean,
I believe that anybody in America could start their own business right on their kitchen table with little or no money. See, anything you're going to do in life is going to take a lot of work. But if you really find something you really, really want to do and you learn how to use the system, you'll get over any obstacle. You could start a business on your kitchen table because I'll show you unbelievable government programs that help you write a business plan, apply for a grant, get a government contract, or give you free legal, marketing, and tax advice. There are no guarantees in life, but I can guarantee that the government wants you to start a business because 64% of all the jobs in this country come from small businesses, and 73% of all businesses in this country are small enough to start on your kitchen table. So don't give up your dream. Let me show you how the government will help you start a business right on your kitchen table.
No, that's the guy who didn't show up. They just showed something on the screen. I got stiffed this afternoon. Actually, he had a child in a hospital or something, or his grandmother ate something or something like that. Anyway, you'll see him next week. It's good stuff. But, now Julianne Brienza. Is that Italian?
It is Italian.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Julianne Brienza. Now, Julianne, let me show the website. Let's show our website here. It's capfringe.org.
Mm-hmm.
That is, let's see, I'll give Eric the number 6. Oh, there it is, right. So I put a little thing in there so people could read it. That's your current website?
This is our current website, and it will be our website up until May 1st.
May 1st, so they're like 30, 40 more days.
Then we get a new website.
That's wonderful. But, it's arts, I think. I mean, it's sort of, you're like maybe the Occupy of the arts movement. I was in Scotland, lived in Scotland like in the 60s, or early 70s. I think that's where the festival started.
The very first one started there.
From my understanding, reading it, I didn't know at the time, but preparing for you, I see that it was all these artists who weren't invited to the real festival and just showed up on the street and wanted to do their stuff, right?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's what we're doing now here in Washington and other cities around the country. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Fringe is something that doesn't actually have a very clear definition to it. And that's why it is undefinable, which is exciting because it can mean very many different things to thousands of people. And that's why it's accessible.
But I think it in our society now that we become so developed, I see the problem is cultivating new talent and artists and things just like in businesses. We have all these big businesses, and how do we cultivate the small little entrepreneurs? And so we have government programs that try to help to do that. So that's why I think what you're doing is so important. It's sort of like an incubator for new talent, new artists, to come up through the system and to share. I mean, and truthfully, I mean, you know this, Vera, because I see you studied arts and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I haven't. I'm an MBA kind of person. But that's the heart of our country, isn't it? I mean, the
arts?
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends on which way you're looking at it. But I think expressing ourselves is the heart of our country.
That's
and
what I
the
mean.
arts are a very accessible way to do that.
Yeah.
And you can do it at every level.
And it's, the other countries, I think it's Denmark and people like that are just more attuned to this part of our culture. Here, we cut it out of the education system or something.
Well, it's funny. Every year I go, like the last 5 to 6 years. I mean, that's kind of like every year. I go and testify in front of City Council on behalf of the DC Arts Commission so that we can keep our funding, increase the funding. And this year, I just was like frustrated because I don't understand why we have to keep asking every year.
Yeah.
Like, can't we have a plan, like a 5-year
Right.
plan, and we're coming in to talk about how the 5-year plan is progressing, and instead of just saying, can we have money?
Yeah.
Like, just that it's understood that, I mean, the commission's been around for a while. Like, I don't know.
Well, more importantly, I think in our economic development, at least the data I read about how cities grow, the cities that are the fastest growing are the ones with, I guess this data,
Yeah.
with arts. I mean, and if you don't have that, you're not going to, because the raise of the creative class, the Richard Florida book, I don't know if you know about that. He's a demographic economist kind of guy. And he did an analysis, like if your city doesn't have a good arts going on, you're not going to attract creative people, and creative people, whether they're artists or not, are the ones who are going to create jobs.
And the reason, I mean, this is an interesting discussion for Washington, D.C., because we have so many high-level arts institutions that oftentimes the amateur and mid-level scene is not necessarily concentrated on. And to me, if a city is able to support an amateur and mid-level scene, then it actually is an arts city.
That's interesting. Well, let me show, Eric, can you put this up? This is what I found, and I showed you earlier, so I wouldn't surprise you. Number 7, a quote I read. This is a few years ago. You interviewed somebody, maybe not remember it, but it sort of appeals to that. You say here, having a festival in D.C. that does not make judgments or have an artistic mission like a big theater company would have, but simply gives artists a platform to be independent self-producers, is the key to telling the story of the performing arts of the city. So that's what you really. So you still believe that?
Oh yeah, I still believe it. I am still idealistic enough to believe that.
In the last couple of years, they didn't beat it out of you yet.
It's sometimes I do get a tad discouraged because doing something that is, our sole mission is to give our artists and audiences a place to express themselves in whichever way they want. It's tough to get that done all the time.
Well, I think it's even more important in our society now, where we have a winner-take-all society. In other words, that you can, everyone can see Pavarotti, so anybody else who sings, why should they bother, right?
Right.
Then we don't have the next Pavarotti or whatever it is. So I would think it's like that in all the arts. That's why I think what you do is so important to grow those seedlings. To encourage people to be the next one or to be something different than what the hell we have now.
Or even to just be themselves.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the hardest thing is to just be yourself. I mean, like, seriously.
Oh, that is the hardest thing in the world to do. I still fight every day doing that. No, I relate to that very much because, you go through the education system and they'll beat it out of you. They'll all tell you what to be, and how you should do it, right? And that's why I always envied artists like you. You knew better, because you had something inside that you knew you had to do no matter what these assholes said, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
I still feel that way
Yeah.
about very much of what I do on a daily basis.
And I was always jealous and envious that anybody had a talent in the arts because they knew what they had to do.
Well, I think to me, especially from doing the Fringe Festival, this is going to be our 8th year this year, which seems like, wow, 8 years. Anybody can really express themselves.
Right.
It isn't, and a lot of people who participate in our festival and do shows, they didn't go to school for theater. Some did. It really runs the whole gamut, but anyone is able to tell a story. I mean, that's part of the human condition.
And that's what really my next thought is. See, that's what happened to me. See, I wasn't any one of those regular and the best trumpet player or whatever the heck it was, man. But I love performing, and I make millions of dollars doing it now. And in school, I was just I thought my middle name was Sit Down. Sit down, Lesko, sit down. Because I had ants in my pants, and couldn't sit down. And if someone took that, or I had a way to do that, it was only...
You should do a show in the Fringe Festival.
I don't... My mind is turning now on it.
That could be really fun. That'd be really like a DC moment.
Right.
That would be really cool.
It occurs to me, and we'll talk later. I'll get my agent to call your people. But it's so important, I think, because I think that's what we all are in society. But see, I think everyone's an artist, no matter what the hell they are. They're an art at something. If you're not dancing or singing like me, I'm an artist at making a fool out of myself on TV or whatever it is. I mean, it's just something I do better than anybody else. And I think that's what art is, and we have to. That's why I think Fringe Festival, your work encourages the average person to find what the hell they enjoy doing, to grow that, because that's what we're going to grow the best at, right? That's what we're going to, and growing to me is like giving to other people.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of people are really giving their stories.
Absolutely.
I mean, one of the things
you say stories. I love that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, at the festival, when we do the summer festival, it's sort of basic lighting, sound, technical stuff going on. So if the story isn't any good that you're trying to do in your show, then it's just really a bare stage. And but it's like when I was coming here today, I was listening to NPR, and they were talking to
Interfaith?
The war veterans about, there's like a new short story book coming out about them. And this year in the festival, we have like 4 or 5 shows from Iraqi war veterans talking about PSD and like all that sort of stuff. And it's just really interesting to learn. And it's also very immediate, because a lot of the things that are in the Fringe Festival are things that are going on right now that people are dealing with, whether they be happy, sad, or completely abstract,
So it's not some production we've been working on for 5 years or something like that.
Well, sometimes people do that, but it runs the gamut.
Right.
But there always is sort of thing. The thing I'm sort of most interested in, I mean, maybe the show will be bad, but I just kind of am interested to hear, because it must be so strange to come back from an environment where you're just like killing. Yeah. And then you're here on the street.
I was in Vietnam, and I wasn't, sleeping in the jungles and stuff. I was in the Navy. But I remember when I came back, I mean, at least we're treating people, we appreciate them more. When I came back, I felt like a fool. Everybody said, all my friends were smart enough to know how to get out of it, and things like that. And so but see, to me, in my work, I think these people deserve everything we have, and it hurts me when I see, what the Veterans Administration doing to these people, the PTSD. We're going to be screwed up for years. That's why the cost of this war is terrible. But that's another issue.
It is,
But the arts handle that. See, I mean, that's who else is going to say that? Say you look at some screaming heads on the news. I mean, that doesn't touch your heart. You pick a side beforehand and you do go. But somebody lays their heart on the table, in the arts, then. That's what. Well, let's say a lot of people, because this is around the country, may not even know what the Fringe Festival is.
Right.
Eric, why don't you show this video we have of number 8, and give people a little feel for if they go to Washington. When is it? In July?
July 11th to the 28th.
July 11th here. You got to get a whole bunch of tickets for this place, because it's.
These are your highlights for the Capital Fringe Festival.
Hi, my name is Caroline O'Grady, and so far the Capital Fringe Festival has been crazy because it's taken over my life, because I'm in 2 shows, and in the best crazy way possible.
Amazing sex.
Yeah. It's okay.
He thinks he can have his cake and that he can also eat that same cake. He thinks he can have the mountains and the beach, city home and the country home, kids and career, love and money, rolls in Bentley. Kids and career, love and money, wife and mistress. Kids and career, love and money, wife and mistress.
Just come with us and be free. Come with us and let it be. No worries, no more wonder. Only happiness and wonder. Life's a brilliant and a joy.
For more information, check out capitalfringe.org.
So is that a fair representation?
I think that's pretty fair. It's actually, it really ran the gamut because the first show, like where the guy was in the
Right,
whatever with
yeah.
the leopard print or zebra print, that was the first time that guy had ever produced a show.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it was really
That was great.
And
That
and
was
then
good
you
stuff.
went from like the solo show where that guy travels around the country doing shows, and then it ended with Dizzy Miss Lizzy, who's Dizzy Miss Lizzie's Roadside Review, which is they've been doing the festival for many years, and actually this year they're winning. They got the Helen Hayes Award for the emerging company, Johnny Yellow Award for the
wonderful.
emerging company. So you really,
Yeah. Well, I looked through a lot of clips, and I was trying to get exciting because some of them, if you don't see the whole thing, it's hard to get into them or whatever. But it's funny. I just came back from South by Southwest, and that's another neat kind of thing in our country. That's why I sort of see this in town as something like that. Or Burning Man I went to once, which is another, you have to be naked though to do that. And that's why I think it's so important, and that's what I see here. If you're creative or not at all, or think you're creative, I mean, to me, it's you have to attend these things, to make sure there's people like you out there too.
It's true. There is, the festival itself. I mean, last year we had to the summer festival, we had about 20,000 people that attended,
Wow.
which is a lot. I mean, it's like
20,000 people. Burning Man only has 50. And they've been
it's the thing that I find exciting about it and energizing is that many of them, they're not like regular art attending people or theater goers, and so it really is a way to introduce people to live performance,
it's all
which
very accessible.
So I think that's I feel pretty fortunate to be able to do that.
Oh no, it's wonderful, but I'm sure the hardest part is raising money for all this stuff.
It totally is.
And does that turn you into a different animal?
It is a very much different part of my brain. So when our first year of doing Capital
How'd you
Fringe,
finance it the first year?
Yeah, right. We had, it was just timing, a lot of it, like life can be. Before we actually even did a festival, we got grants from the Meyer Foundation and the Capers Foundation.
I mean, to do what?
To do the festival.
Oh, I see. So
but we hadn't done it before.
Oh,
like
I
we were
see.
saying we were going to do it.
So
And
you were able to go to these big foundations and get money to do this festival, and you never did the bloody thing?
we
before?
hadn't done it yet.
Wow.
And then we did it, and it was really kick-ass. I mean, the first year we
I
thought we'd have
remember,
like 50 groups, and we had 96.
Wow.
And our first year, our budget was about $350,000.
Wow.
Before.
That's incredible.
And a lot of it was, I mean, I remember when I was like younger, like in my 20s, and I would work at arts organizations that were the founders were still there, and I'd be like, "How'd you do it?" They'd be like, "It's timing."
Right,
But it
I see.
really was a timing thing. Like DC was ready for for this
Fringe.
type of
Yeah,
to
but that's
support
timing
this type
for
of thing.
success. But how about timing if you're just focused on getting money? I mean, how did you package yourself that you could do this? I mean, were you alone in this? That
No,
you were doing?
there was 7 founding members, and we all worked in varying positions.
You never had your own thing, but you were working for other people, and just say, "Hey, let's get the barn and put
and
on
it was
a show."
really just talking to
Yeah.
a lot of people and selling them on the idea and selling them on the
Before you wrote the papers or applications or after?
all at the same
All
time.
the time. Yeah. So you're talking to the funding people while you're doing the application, trying to get feedback.
Yeah.
To understand what the hell you put in the application.
Well, and also part of it too is we're not like a traditional nonprofit where we
Yeah.
get the majority of our revenue from contributed revenue. So we are about 80% earned revenue.
So 80% of your money comes from people buying tickets.
No.
No, earned as well.
Comes from to participate in the festival. The artist pays $575
okay.
to have the venue,
Right,
be in the
I
guide,
see,
be on the
right.
website, all of that
Gotcha,
kind of
right.
stuff. And then also over the years, we've added different things. Like in 2008, we added the Baldacchino Gypsy Tent Bar.
Oh, that sounds terrific. I got to be
Well,
down there
the
soon,
first
yeah.
year of it, we had just gotten this tent. It's like a 3,000 square foot tent,
Yeah.
and I used a caterer. It was horrible. It was like Coronas and hockey puck burgers. It was so bad. And then we just decided to do it ourselves. And so we got Maddie Griffiths, who is our chef and bar manager. And so we get a lot of things donated, and then we we take the
so
profits
this
from
becomes
that.
a profit-making venue for you then.
Well, we just got out of debt last year. So
So soon it'll be a
yeah.
profit-making venue.
Well, it isn't. As a nonprofit, it isn't.
No, I mean the bar thing.
Yes, the bar it helps us sustain ourselves.
Yeah, that's
just
what
to
I mean.
be
Right. To use capitalism
yeah.
to help. That's what I believe for nonprofits is use capitalism. I mean that seems to be.
Well, and I'm
a way
very
to
much
go.
like I have a sort of an entrepreneurial, like I'm always, like if I go to a restaurant and I'm like, well, how does the math work on this thing? How are they actually staying open?
Food's too expensive for that price.
So my brain sort of works that way.
Right.
So
Well, we have Shane Shepard on the line. Shane, can you hear me? Maybe you can. Oh, Shane, can you hear me? Shane? Oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, I heard him there. Can you hear me, Shane?
Yes, I hear you.
Ah, there's Shane. Okay, for those of you who don't know, out in the audience is Shane. He's on here every week telling us about a new grant or something. He works with a lot of economic development groups out in Texas. And so, Shane, you took a look at her site, right, to try to come up with some suggestions, right?
I did, and I've been listening in.
So what are some maybe opportunities for her that you see? Now she's probably going to tell you she saw all that.
So I was looking at some of the public meetings. I think back in 2011, and I think it was for the ability to sell alcohol, and some numbers came out there. And if I heard right, there's something. I heard today 20,000 people come out, and about 50% are from Nazis. Is that correct?
Say that again, Shane. It's a little hard to understand.
yeah, our budget. Yeah, you're right. Way to go with your research. Congratulations. Yes, this year 2011, we got up to it's a little over 900,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's like, what?
You got $1 million business here.
Like, wow.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah.
So, doing the economic development for almost 10 years now, we were doing we have this indicator about what value that brings to the city that you're doing an event in. And so we'll say that half the people, 10,000 people, came from outside of Washington, D.C. They spent $20 each. The economic impact will be about $1.4 million. And so that sort of argument when you're asking for money from a public sector like a city or an economic development corporation can be stated saying that we'll bring in $1.4 million with this event. And you won't see it because there's this multiplier that you have to use, but it sounds like that conservatively, $1.4 million is what this is valued to the Washington, D.C. area.
Listen up, City Council.
Yeah. And so a lot of cities they're either non-entitlement or entitlement cities. In Washington, D.C., I'm pretty positive it is an entitlement city because you have over 50,000 people. So what that
Entitlement,
means
you know what he means
is
by
that
that?
the
I think we
federal
lost.
government-
Hold on, Shane. Entitlement. So that means for a grant, a block grant stuff. Is that what you mean?
Right, yeah. So if your city has more than 50,000 people, the federal government automatically every year sends them money to distribute to other nonprofits and other causes in the city. And so this may be something that you can go and ask for some money from some of this entitlement money.
So now,
from the council.
Shane, now she goes to the Arts Council here. So this would be money other than the Arts Council.
Right. This is directly from. You might want to talk to the city manager, the mayor, or city council directly.
Yeah, I mean, we got back when the city did earmarked funds, which is now against the law. We actually got earmarked funds for 2 years. But now the mayor, he just doesn't see it as like a fair system, which it's not. It's really like if you know how to play the game, you get you get money.
They're stopping it on Capitol Hill too.
So I do know that that Mayor Gray is giving, I think it's $15 million to a certain number of nonprofits, but it's not necessarily arts. It's like everybody. And so there's going to be a separate application for that, which we will definitely apply for. Yeah.
Okay, Shane, what else?
Well, yeah. So, and I commend you on what you're doing. Every city in America, they're trying to get more of the creative class involved with their city because it does two things. It sends out a message to the rest of the world that it's a healthy community, and also when you bring in the creative class, usually the economics boosts over a couple of years, or over several years. So that's a very a good thing for the city. And what I'm trying to do is give you discussions to have with your city council and mayor on this stuff. Now, I'm not sure how it is with Washington, D.C., but it may be the same here as it is here in Texas. Cities can't allocate money for more than 1 year at a time, but you can be in the budget process come May or April when they start doing budgeting, and that's a great time to ask for funds, so you don't have to go back later on. You're just in their budget, and it may be their tourism budget.
But it seems like maybe what she has to do is find other places in the city government that it may be, not just to the arts or something like that, and economic development. Is that maybe, that's attracting, if you're attracting tourism, but I guess that's part of the arts too, is tourism in the arts? Yeah. Is that where you're leading at, Shane?
Yeah, a little bit, and I have just a couple more ideas also. One thing that I've worked with before is a nonprofit who needed to raise some funds, and they didn't have the people on staff to go out and raise the money and also do the event. And so what we did is that we found someone to raise money for the event, going to different businesses and foundations and talking with them. And we cut them anywhere from 10 to 15% of whatever they collected. And so there's incentive for them to get more, and the more they receive, the more money that they got also.
So you were able to hire somebody on a commission basis to go out raise money for you?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. And are these ad agencies kind of people, or who would normally do that?
Trying to find a salesperson.
Pardon me? Just a salesperson. It could be an ad agency. Yeah.
I mean, we do, like, during the festival time, like, starting in June, sort of through the end of August, we have, like, a lot more advertising on our site, and we sort of keep it for that time of the year. But it's actually improper for a nonprofit to hire someone and then pay them a commission
really?
Off of... Because I was thinking about doing this, because I was thinking, because we have a development person, and I was going to, like, pay her a commission of the fund, what she was raised. I don't know if it's, like, against the law, but I definitely know that I was told that it's an improper, but, like, for ad sales and stuff like that, it's totally fine, because it's not, because basically when somebody gives you money from like a foundation or an individual, they're giving it to you for like a program or
So maybe that's what you were using it for, Shane, was just like for ad sales or sponsorship versus grants from nonprofits.
Right. For the most part, we send somebody out to go talk with a business, not necessarily the foundation, but with a business, and they raise $5,000 or $6,000, and we would give them $600 for raising that as a contract laborers. Is what we do. We would contract with this person, and so far we haven't gotten in trouble for it.
No, you can do that with ads and stuff like that. I mean, I do that.
Yeah. So maybe she needs like big banners on every show, that say Bank America art on it.
Yeah, so that's like a whole other thing. Like we don't do a lot of that because it's not really. I mean, every year for advertising sales, I think this year I budgeted $16,000 that we were going to bring in for that. But we don't actually allow banners in our tent because it's just so like corporate America. And so like you go to like, I don't want to say another festival because I'm not thinking it's bad, but like, it's just, it's not really our scene because we're not really about like, but at the same time we do have to make money. So you got to, balance it all out. But we hopefully, because we are getting a new website in May, we're talking about the ads and how that's going to sort of work on the site now, and it's going to be a little bit different and a little bit more like not so stagnant, because our website now is from like 2008, and websites have progressed a lot in the last 5 years or so. There's like whole new languages called like Ruby on Rails. It's like a whole new world. So there's a lot more stuff you can do that seems a little bit more individual focused instead of like, here's our stagnant banner from whatever.
Now you mentioned, I think in mentioning to me, Shane, that you feel that maybe she could get more out of higher prices somewhere. I'm not sure where you said that or in what context that was.
Yeah, so when I was out on the website, it looked like a banner ad would cost, I believe on the back page, $150 or $200, on the front page, $300 or $350. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and really with that many people coming out, you have quite a bit of exposure, and your website, I imagine, has some exposure too. I honestly think, and I used to work in the ad agency world, I think that you can at least double those.
That's really good feedback, because I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't even updated our website for like the numbers that we actually had on last year's festival. But from when tickets went on sale through the festival, we had 348,000 individual unique visitors.
Wow.
I know. And they spent, one thing that was very interesting is before they were spending like a minute or 2 minutes on the site. Last year it was like a little over 3 minutes, which I think, I'm not like a super expert about this, but I think that that's pretty good.
Incredible. So, if I get 3 minutes somebody, that's good.
So I mean, to be honest with you, just last week in the office, I was talking about, because we're about to put our banner ads up for sale for this year's, extravaganza. And I was like, I don't know if these are the right prices anymore. Well, it's also, I want to make sure that I'm, that
value,
just the value, because it is, you do have, when you put something like that up for sale, it's a perceived value.
But I think there's another thing. I mean, I wrestle with this too. I mean, every time. I've been selling information for 30, 40 years now. And it's perceived value is, we sort of have a sense, I still do, to downgrade the value of what I'm doing because I do it easily. But from somebody else's standpoint, I've never been wrong in overcharging. I mean, and I still have to relearn that over and over and over.
I feel like I'm always relearning that too.
I mean, no matter how old I get, I'm 70 years old, but doing this 30, 40 years. And even now, I would give it away for free, like you. You want everybody to understand this thing. But you have an obligation to stay here and do this.
Yeah, and that's where it gets into, like, I've always said in almost everything I've done, like, we are a business.
Yeah.
And we can't actually do what we do without money.
Yeah.
Because I am, unfortunately, I'm not independently wealthy.
Yeah. Well, but it's not I mean, it is a business, true. I mean, to me, it's using capitalism to be able to help people is what you're doing. And so that's why the more you can take advantage of capital, and people really don't mind it. And the people that are out there giving that money, that have that money, a lot of them, whether it's 100 or 500, probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It probably makes a difference to the average person coming in to see the venue, maybe.
Yeah.
But the people that are sucking you, really, because they want your people.
Yeah.
You got these people with something neat, and now they don't have time. They don't know how to do this, what you're doing, but they're going to suck you dry. So you got to play the game.
Play the game, yeah.
Because you were smart enough to, 3 million people, you said? What was the website?
348,000.
348,000. So you got that audience and people. That's what you see on the websites now. People have websites, they're not selling anything. They're just selling eyeballs, right? So that's because people are there. You're not selling any trinket. YouTube. I mean, maybe now they're doing that. They're still not making money. But they get more millions because the eyeballs are so important. So you got 300,000 eyeballs, man. That's worth as much as you, and it has nothing to do with your art.
It's like an asset.
Yeah, right,
asset.
exactly.
Yes.
So how do you get the most leverage out of that sucker?
Most leverage, and also protecting it at the same time, and not whoring yourself out.
Well, a little bit, maybe.
Well,
There's a fine line.
There's a fine line. There is a fine line. It's very true.
It's true, and I think it's the kind of person that whatever. But I mean, to me, I deal with the same thing, and I just put a disclaimer. I just say, hey, we don't endorse anybody here, but if I don't have them here, I ain't going to be here. That kind of thing. So you're growing up to understand that, and
Trying
people
to be.
are. I mean, not you, but the audience.
Yeah.
They understand that because we don't want to lose you. So if you don't take advantage of that, then we may lose you.
It's true. No, it's true.
And so you have to be a little bit of a whore.
We just had, it's funny, we just had our board meeting last week, and we had a conversation sort of around our assets and what is the value of them,
right.
And how do we...
Absolutely, and that is, in
how
this
do
society...
we capitalize on that so that we can
eyeballs,
continue
man.
to do
It's
what we're doing.
eyeballs, and that's why maybe there's even joint ventures, with other people like that. Everybody, I mean, who's in the arts? I mean, every other theater company would love to reach those 300,000 people because you're only there for a couple of weeks, right? And they would love to know who those people are. And there may be other less competitive kind of relationships, to brainstorm. Well, Shane, at least you started us thinking a little bit. Anything else before we go? God, look, we
No, the
killed
only
it.
other thing I had is this. I got a little bit confused at the sponsorship. I was looking about how to become a sponsor, and there's a lot of good information there. One thing that I was a little bit unsure about is that I'm not sure if I would have to give $100 to get all those benefits or $10,000.
To get on what?
So that
A sponsorship.
That may be something to look at.
Now that's on the sponsorship section under sponsorship opportunities. Remember on the left-hand side, she doesn't tell on the website anymore. She's
I really
in
have
upper management.
No.
They're redoing it now
We're
too.
redoing the website, so I haven't.
So I think that you
updated.
have something for sponsorships that for this, for $100 you get this, and I think what he's saying is it's not clear what more I'm getting for a more price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say that it's not clear.
Yeah, all right. Now I got a lot of marketing stuff like that. I don't know what the hell it means either.
No, I mean, just to be honest with you, this is sort of an area where we need
help. Yeah.
We just need to have an opportunity to grow.
Right.
Well,
that's what small organizations. You have a million things you could do tomorrow.
There are I could really do like 100 tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And
I would like to ask you a question, Shane. Okay. So I just see that you said that our social media is weak. Can you tell me why you think that?
Know?
No, like why do you think that?
Why what now?
Our social media is weak.
Oh, okay. Well, I couldn't find anything on your front page to find the social media, so I'm not sure if it is or not. I just can't find anything on your front page of the website to give me to the social media.
Next month.
Okay. Well, it is on the homepage. It's in the upper right-hand corner. But it's okay. I mean, it's fine. I really work hard at the social media.
I see.
So that's why I wanted to be like, is it really weak?
That's great. Social media is a great way for the call for action and everything else. And I gotta say, when I started looking at what you're doing, it is absolutely awesome, and I think you guys are on the right track. It's pretty fantastic what you've been able to accomplish.
Thank you. I can't wait for you to see our new website in May.
I'm looking forward to
Now,
it.
you send her a thank you note when you see it, okay?
I will take your suggestions into
Okay. Well,
serious
thank you so much, Shane. Now, stay tuned. I want to show the next slide here, Eric. Number 9. This is what you're doing that I really think is really cool. Being half clown myself, she has a clown cabaret at her new venue, that their office and party room, and it's a nightclub too. What is this? What's going on over there?
So we've been at Fort Fringe, which is at 607 New York Avenue Northwest, since 2008, when Douglas Development purchased it from the family that ran AV Restaurante in the district for about 60 years. So we moved in. Since we've been there, we've built 3 theaters. We have our administrative offices there. We have a bar inside. We really only have like 2 restrooms, but it's okay. So we are there actually until it gets torn down, which will be in maybe at the end of this year or maybe at the end of next year. So we are actually in the process of, speaking of raising money, launching our, I hate these words, like our first ever capital campaign. And we're actually going through the process of trying to figure out, what is Washington, D.C. really ready for the Capital Fringe to be?
I see. Is that part of the startup grant or something that?
Upstart.
Upstart. That's right.
Yeah, it actually is through that program from the D.C. Arts Commission. We're hiring like a consultant to sort of help us kind of figure out how to.
So, because I see you got like about $30,000 this year from them.
Actually, in all total, we got like about 80.
Oh, whoa! I was looking at my wrong numbers. Yeah, and then plus the startup thing, huh?
Upstart. Yeah. Well, that includes the Upstart.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And no, back in you've been doing this for 8 years for that, and I guess maybe you were doing grants in the arts before that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, if you were doing an application first off, I mean, you think you'd figure it out yourself first time?
No. I had to be honest with you. I used to just dread development and writing grants because it's almost like a different language, you know. And I'm very like kind of relaxed, and conversational.
Hey, I just want this money. Hey.
So it took me a while to learn that speak, and it's actually, I find grant writing very similar to public speaking. You just need to say the numbers. Everybody loves the numbers. You really need to say how many people you're getting, how many people are connecting to you, how much money is sort of like, one of like, in the 7 years we've been doing the festival, we've given back $1.4 million to the participating artists in our festival.
Wonderful.
Because we give back about 60% of the ticket revenue that we bring into them. So it's about 20% of our budget. And it's really like making sure when you're writing a grant, almost like make a separate document so you can refer to all of your numbers and know when to kind of get them in there. Because that's what the people who are reviewing the grants, they really want to know what your impact is. Yeah. Most of the time. I mean, if you're doing something that's maybe more like project based and you're going to like,
save the world.
Yes, save the world. Or what? I mean, even with that, you really need to have some numbers.
Exactly right. How many bloody people are you going to do? Well, you're just a delight, Julianne, and I appreciate your work, and Shane does too, obviously. And it's nice to see your enthusiasm for doing it. And actually, the best thing about you is. Language is, even though we both speak English, it is your unpretentiousness or more important. I mean, this town is full of very important people, as you know.
It is.
And you run a very important project in the city, and you don't act like a very important person, which is a compliment.
Thank you.
For me. I mean, it's really nice to see because, I mean, it's all just people struggling through life trying to get stuff done.
It's true.
And I see you, when I see you, is that you're just working your butt off trying to do shit every day and something you believe in. And that's a wonderful feeling. And thanks for sharing that with everybody else and not being a pompous ass about it.
I hope I'm never a pompous ass.
Well, let me tell you about it. There's another. Put this out. I want to finish some other things. I got so many things to do. But this was good with Julianne, guys. I want to show you about 8 million people out there right now could get over $5,000 grant money, but they don't know it's there. Right. Okay, now this is important for tax time because this grant you get through your taxes. Now it's called an earned income tax credit. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe not. It's really for families. You have to have kids, or maybe if you have no kids, it also is eligible too. And here's it. So you can make up to $50,000 and get almost $60,000 grant. See, even though it's through the tax system, it's a tax credit that gives you the money, even if you don't owe any taxes. So if you don't owe any taxes and you fill out the tax form and it shows you owed $6,000, they'll send you $6,000 back. Yeah. So that's what's neat about it. So don't miss this thing in tax time, particularly if you have kids, because it goes way up. If you're single and under like $20,000, you get up to $5,000. You know, with one child, goes up to $42,000. You get $3,000 back. So, you know, this is pretty high income to me, you know, it seems, for a lot of people. And 25% of the people that are eligible are not applying for this. That's the pity. And it's easy to fill out your taxes. Don't give money to those professional tax preparers. Run the next one, Eric. Number 11. Let's see this video. You can do your taxes yourself unless you're a business or something like that. Don't worry about that. Okay, run.
Hi, and welcome to IRS Free File, where you can do your federal taxes online for free. If you made $57,000 or less last year, and most of us did, you can use the free brand name tax software from our commercial partners. Look under the heading, choose a free file option. The first link helps you find a software company that best fits your needs. The second link takes you to a list of free file companies you can browse. Now, if you made more than $57,000, you can still prepare and file them for free. Just click on the link under Use Free File Fillable Forms. They even check your math for you. So give Free File a try. And remember, it's fast, it's safe, it's free.
See, just go to the IRS Gov website. Put the next one up, next one up, number 12. This is what the website looks like, the IRS.gov, and you'll see my arrows there. One is for the earned income tax credit. They'll tell you more about that. And then this arrow on the right shows you how to use that thing that the video did. And I just copied that video from the IRS. What's so great about government stuff, nothing in the government is copyrighted. Show the next slide. Because one thing I want you to really know, if you go to a professional tax preparer, and anybody making less than $50,000 doesn't have to, you know, but most important, the average H&R Block will charge you like almost $200. And that's silly. I mean, you could go to that website there and do it yourself. But more importantly, if you do get in one of these professional tax preparers, the H&R Block and all the other people, they're going to sell you some money one way or another. They love lending money. They say, hey, you know, you got a refund coming, so let us give you the money now, you know, and we'll just charge you a little fee. Well, look at the percentage of that fee they're going to charge you. You know, normally on a car loan is like 4% interest you spend on money. If you go to one of these tax preparers like Liberty or H&R Block, it's 90, like 100%, 93%, you know, 60 or 680% on the money. I mean, I was going to get a ski mask to wear when I said this because I think these people are holding you up. Don't borrow money from professional tax preparers. This is a report done by the National Consumer Law Center. It's a nonprofit. They investigated all this stuff. You know, the website's there. You could get it if you want to see that report. But bottom line, try to do your taxes yourself. It's okay if you screw up. Don't worry about it. And don't borrow money from a professional tax preparer. Okay, next one. I'm going to show you how to make $5 million to be a snitch. That's right. You can make $5 million for being a snitch. Run this video. It's the next one there, Eric, number 14.
These paintings are very unique, easily identifiable if you know what you're looking for. If you didn't see these paintings, you'd walk right by them and maybe not take note of them. But by trying to get the images out there of these paintings and these pieces, hopefully this might resonate with someone. Someone might see a painting and scour their memory and realize that maybe they'd seen it years past, and that's what we're trying to do.
$5 million, right? So you see those hanging around somewhere. Talk about the arts. Maybe Julianne will have her stuff be in the FBI. Somebody stole their clown, and they're looking for $5 million. And so you go to the FBI website and find out more about it if you know something. But you know, it's funny. I went to this FBI website and look at the 10 most wanted. And if you have a good lead on those 10 most wanted, 10 grand. I mean, not 10 grand, 100 grand, $100,000. And when I clicked on there was a guy from Maryland, a child molester, who looks like one of my neighbors, tell you the truth, who teaches in some private school, you know, is accused of child molestation. I mean, he looked like a guy in the neighborhood. It was amazing. 100 grand. So that's another interesting thing. Yeah, just to take a look at. You're looking for some free money. We don't have time to cover the $500,000 solar challenge, but let me tell you about Phil Newsom. My younger brother interviewed this guy, you know, who got money to train because you're looking for a new job. Let me show you about this training money. I know you got the book and you were a little skeptical at first, but tell them what happened.
Actually, we saw your promo on television and we thought it was a joke. Shortly afterwards, I wound up at the library and saw your book and wrote down a few of the programs that you listed. Next thing I knew, I was getting a degree in systems engineering, and now I'm getting a degree in business.
God, how much money did you get?
Just about $9,000.
$9,000, and he didn't even pay for the book. There's training money. If you're looking for a job, you're out of work, they get up to $10,000. Like you want to be a massage therapist or something like that. Or I've seen doctors that use this, you know, to go to learn and get a new procedure. You know, we have a lot of training money in this country to get people better jobs, increase their skills. Also, the Fringe Festival could send people get training money. Like you want to send your people to learn some, you know, like customer service or whatever, and cost you $2,000 to do that. There's money at the Department of Labor in your state capital, you know, that do that. And the service locator is where you find all these people, and it's training money. It's wonderful. So it's really for, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to get trained on some software product or something and it costs you $2 grand or something, see, they'll pay up to $10,000. So if you want to get a trucking license, hey, I'd love to travel the country in a big rig and do that. So a lot of people looking for work. So here's how to get 10 grand to do that. And there's just bureaucratic hurdles. You go to this website, www.servicelocator.org, servicelocator.org, and you put in your zip code, and there'll be a listing about 10, 20 places, you know, within, you know, a drive of where you live, because these places are all over, and they're wonderful. And remember, it does take a little effort dealing with the government. I mean, it's not like, you know, you're not going to call an ad on TV. So you're going to call that truck school on TV, you know, and there's somebody, they're going to get money from you, you know, and so they're going to be right there. They're going to, you know, spend an hour or two with you on the phone and all this stuff because they're getting money from you. These people who have the money to give you, you know, they're not getting money from you. So you have to do a little extra work, be a little nicer to these people when you call them up, because they're going to get the same paycheck whether they help you or not. See, a commercial operation that you call up, you know, that's getting money from you, they know they're going to do everything to come home and wash your windows to make sure they get your money, you know, so they'll be that nice. So the free stuff, you got to work a little harder on your side, you know, to make sure you get all the benefits that are available to you in this country. And remember, this is all free because you pay for it. You know, just remember, tax time, okay? The average family is going to pay like $20,000 in taxes in this country. You know what the average benefits coming back in cash that the government gives out? $20,179 per family. It's about the same, see? So if you're not getting your 20 grand back that you're given, man, that means some fat cat's getting your share. So we have a little Lesko video here about festivals in the park. Number 28. Let's go out with that. And thank you, Julian. She was terrific. Everybody get their butt to the Fringe Festival. That's July when?
July 11th through the 28th.
Okay, July 11th to the 28th. And the website is
capfringe.org.
And remember, there's a new one. You don't like the one now. In a month,
it'll
you
be
see
much better.
Right. Take care. Watch this video. It's cool. It's about other festivals. Well, the old guy screwed up again. The video isn't working. Oh, it is a great video. So I'll run it next week. And until then, you're going to have to listen to rap music or whatever they're putting on here, okay? Take care.